Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. Sorry for the inconvenience that we've caused with the new link. We just found the other platform was having issues today, and we decided to take just some necessary actions in this time to make sure we can deliver the best webinar we possibly can. So yeah, just today's webinar is on Sigma. Now, I wanna one, congratulate everyone for still holding out during the lockdown, and hope everyone is staying safe in this time. And then just how we're going to go about. So just a little bit of a introduction. My name is Michiel Oudendal. I'm the BIM lead for Modena, and I'm the technical person on the webinar today. Then we have Tiamo. He's the sales rep from Modena that also assist you guys in the future with any Sigma related queries and things like that. And then the man of the hour, Magnus from Sigma itself, the co-founder and CTO for Sigma Estimates, and he will be showcasing the potential of the software. So I hope you guys enjoy the webinar. And now over to Tiamo. Tiamo, you there?
Yes, I'm here. So welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us. So I'm just gonna give a brief overview of Modena. So at Modena, we guide our clients to unlock their optimum potential through innovative solution, education, forming lasting partnerships. Modena is South Africa's leading design technology consulting firm within the AEC industry. We are a trusted partner in solving real-world problems with the most advanced design solutions, innovation, and deep industry knowledge. And our vision at Modena is the preferred dynamic partner shaping the building industry through progressive innovation.
Thank you, Tiamo.
Yeah.
Now we're going to hand it over to Magnus. Magnus, just tell us a bit about yourself, and then we can go across to you. I'm going to let you share your screen with us.
Yes, thank you. So hopefully you see my screen now. Hi, everyone. Yes, I'm Magnus. I'm one of the founders of Sigma, and I've been working with estimating software for 15 years now. Our company is only focused on estimating solutions, and today that includes 5D and BIM, which I will mention a little today, but not a lot. It's the Sigma platform and the Sigma product. There's been invested a lot of development over the years, working together with contractors, architects, engineers in many countries, and both small companies, large companies. And today we have a little more than 10,000 users using Sigma for estimating various projects in many parts of the world. And thank you for inviting me today to talk about this. We are delighted to have Modena as a partner in South Africa, and we sure look forward to continuously support and work with you, what you're doing with your clients. So as we all know, probably that Excel is the dominating solution today. That's the experience we have from both Europe, South Africa, Asia, United States, Canada, everywhere we see Excel is being used a lot. And probably there's a good reason for that, because Excel is very easy to use. It's very flexible. It runs on the computer and other good things with Excel. But the problem with Excel is also that it kind of it cannot validate the work you're doing. You cannot always trust every formula is not broken. It's hard to make a good breakdown structure of your projects. It's hard for other people to understand your spreadsheets and things like that. And when we look forward, we also see that in the construction industry, we want to connect the software more. So design tools like 2D and 3D modeling should be connected with estimating, should be connected with planning software, etc. And Excel is not the right solution for that. Excel is still a very good software and can be used for many things, but what we try to do is to take the best parts of Excel, and that means the user interface, the way we structure the application, the way we work with documents, and then put it into the Sigma platform and make it ready for estimating. So for example, the formulas are built in, you can have a breakdown structure and many other things. So that's what we've been working for on the last 15 years. What we really strive to have is something that's easy to use and still very flexible, because probably you all have different solutions. Even though estimating is basically the same, there are many things that you want to have as a flexibility in your software. We also have what we call Open API, which makes it possible to extend Sigma with new functionality and integrations. And we work very much with BIM as well. And talking about BIM, this is the way we work with our clients. Many of our clients come from Excel or similar solutions. And before you can really do BIM and 5D, it's about standardizing the estimating process first, making sure you have good price catalogs, a good template for working with estimating. And then you can start integrating with, for example, 2D software and 3D software for extracting quantities. Working more in a 5D approach, which means estimating based on more automated quantities, also adding more information into your estimates so that you can provide information to 4D systems such as Microsoft Project or other planning software, so you have the durations. So this is what we're working on, and we have some clients that are very far in this, and we hope we can move many clients forward also. After the presentation of the Sigma software today, I'm going to talk just a bit about the integrations we have with 2D and 3D software. And of course, there's an opportunity to ask questions as well. But what I'm going to do now is to show you more of the basics of how Sigma works. It will be basic because we don't have more than 15-20 minutes. But I could probably talk, of course, for many hours on all the details in Sigma. All right, so I will switch now to the Sigma software. And again, the Sigma software runs on the computer. It has a look and feel like Excel, but it's not Excel. It's built from ground up. But when you start Sigma, you can see like here that you have examples you can look into. You have templates. So just when you start Word and Excel, you can start from a template. You can do the same in Sigma. So we have some standard templates here that comes with the software. You can build your own templates as well. You can see some examples of that here. So if you have a specific way you want to structure your project always, you can just create your own templates. And another thing is that we make sure to make a lot of guides and videos that you can use to get started and learn a lot about Sigma. Today, with the things I'm going to present, I'm of course going to use English, but I'm also going to use currency in US dollars because the examples I have isn't that, but there's no limit to the currencies you can use in Sigma or languages or anything. So just look at it as examples today. So the first thing I'm going to do is to start a new estimate, and I think I'll base it on what we call a unit format. We have this template. So we will start a new project now, just like, again, when you start a new Excel sheet or a new Word document. So just to familiarize, just very quickly in Sigma, you have all the functionality in tabs and ribbons up here, very much the way you probably know it from Excel. You have a tree structure here where you can have a breakdown. You can see from a template already have like interiors, interior construction, partitions. So this is a good structure to start out with for estimating. But again, you can make your own. And I have some basic project information here, contact information, description. And again, all of these things can be configured to exactly your needs. So let's start working a bit on estimating. So I'll start very basically and add some partition wall here. And the first thing you can do in Sigma is just start typing. So if I type, for example, drywall and say I want to measure it in square meters, I have two drywalls, 50 plus 30. And I can add a unit cost, and that way I have a cost now. Maybe not that impressive, but that's the most basic way to work with Sigma. Again, all the formulas are built in. If I know that the real cost is 3,500, I can just type it here and it will figure out my unit cost. So you can never break a formula, you can just type and work with it and do breakdowns in this. But of course, as a professional estimator, you don't want to start from scratch all the time. So what you can do is you can build up price catalogs, which in Sigma we call libraries. So I'm going to show you an example of a library. So I switch here to libraries. Here you can see I can have a lot of different libraries. I have a sample library here I'm going to show you, but you can also use price books from local markets or other places in the world. Here are examples from the United States, a lot of different price catalogs integrated with Sigma. But let's use this cost data sample. So I'm just clicking on it and it will open my catalog here. And what you can see is, again, I have a structure, so I have some pricing for different types of walls, ceilings, doors, etc. And you can quite easily build your own catalogs in here. It doesn't take much time. I'm going to show you also how to do that. But first, let's start using something. So I'm working with my partitions here, and maybe I want to use this wood partition. So I can just drag and drop it from my catalog into my estimate and go to my quantities and add again some quantities here. And basically, that's all I need to do. So now I've added my wood partition drywall, and I can continue working on other parts of my partitions, or I can go back to floor construction, roof construction, and work with that. So if we look at this wood partition here, actually, it's just a single line, but if I look into resources, you can see it actually figured out the carpenters I need, how many hours, the materials I need, how many square feet or feet of wood framing, etc. So it's like a small recipe. So how does that work? Well, basically, you can actually expand this one and see the wood partition, how it's built, how much wood framing is used. And again, don't get confused about the square feet and length feet. This can be in metric formats as well. But if you want to have some additional wood framing, you can say, I want to use 0.2, for example. And now everything is updated. Going back, I can see my new price, and I can go into resources again and see how much material I need. I know this is just an introduction, but this is how we work with Sigma. And say we want to store this one. Now we changed the wood framing a bit. So we call it a strong wood partition wall, for example. I can just drag and drop it back into my catalog, and now it's saved for future projects where I can use this one. So that was just a bit about how you start a new estimate based on a template, how you can add things manually, how you can add things from a catalog, you can modify it, you can save it back to a catalog. And the level of detail you're working on is really up to you. Some of our clients use this very high level, and some use it very detailed into all the bits and pieces you have in your estimates. Different project types, you can use it for any type of project. You can create any structure you like here. If I want to divide my floor construction into room 1, room 2, I just type it here. You can see now it's structured here, and then I can go into room 1 and add my floors, for example. So it's quite intuitive to work with. We typically see people within 15 to 30 minutes, they can start using Sigma basically. Good. So the next thing I'm going to do is to open a sample that you can also, if you want to try out the software, you can try the same sample as I do. So I'm going to close what I have on the screen right here. And I will go back into File and New. And as you can see, you have different sample estimates you can use up here. I'm going to use this one with BNI sample data. So the reason I'm going to do this is just to show you how an estimate can look like. So again, we have here, this is another structure in the CSI divisions, concrete, masonry, metalworks, and you can just, it's quite easy to browse through other people's estimates and understand it. If you go to resources again, you'll see what equipment you need, what type of labor you need, which materials you need. So this is very efficient, and you can actually change prices here as well. So if you figure out that your air compressor has another price, you can just change it here, and it will be changed everywhere in your estimate. So again, it's a different way. Instead of thinking about, for example, search and replace, you just change the numbers. But let me show you a few other things. We have something in Sigma called Inside. So Inside is a way to regroup everything. So maybe you want to see this group by crews. So I'll click on this one. You can see the different crews, what they should be working on, which materials, etc. they need. I can regroup it by location to see where I'm working, carport, greenhouse, house, etc. Or you could group it by phases of the construction. So you can see this way is a very efficient way to get an overview, maybe do some printouts and exports to Excel. So if you want to export this to Excel, everything you see on your screen, you can export directly to Excel, just like this. So again, Excel is very well known by many people. So now I have everything in Excel, I can send it to them if I want to. So you can set up your own inside views here. So if you want to group things by other categories or other fields, you can do that. And that's the kind of things you would store in your templates. We have something called key figures. And this is again a place you can set it up and modify it if you like to, but otherwise you will see key figures like what is my sales price, my cost price, how many hours is here, how much is the materials, it's 35% of the cost, things like that. And again, you might want to have some other key figures which you can easily set up in the software. An important thing when we talk about the price is to differentiate between the cost price, which is the price it costs for you to build something, and the sales price, which is the price you want to quote to your customers. You can work with that in what we call summary here. In the summary page, you can see sort of an overview of all the things in the project. You can see the total cost, which again is the cost price. And then Sigma can help you estimate what is the overhead cost. So this could be clothing, tools, fuel, other things that are related costs. And then you can have Sigma help you estimate a profit, how much you want to earn. And then you get a new sales price here. So let me show you just a little more about how that works. We have something called automatic markups. So you can see for overheads, for example, I can say my overhead cost for equipment is 5%, for labor 25%, lease, etc. So these are percentages that will be used to estimate my overhead cost here. On the profit, I can set up some different percentages and say, so this is what I expect to earn, want to earn on the project. And again, you can set some different percentages, which will be used for calculating the profit here. So this is a very simple way to get a good and reliable way to estimate your sales prices. However, in Sigma, you can still change the sales price manually here. So say you want to charge 150,000 in this case for the general requirements. I can just change the number here. And in Excel, you would break a formula. In Sigma, what happens is that Sigma automatically calculates what needs to be added and put it in this column, which is the manual markup. And that way you have a very flexible way to go through your estimate and figure out the sales price and how much you're going to charge the client here. And maybe you want to have a good round number, again, for the entire cost, like this. And you can at all times see your expected profits and margins on all of it. For general contractors and subcontractors, this is a very important page, especially when you do bidding. Okay, so a few other things. It's nice to be able to do estimating, but probably you want to do some reports or printouts as well. So what you can do is you can go to the report section here. And when you install Sigma, it will come with a number of standard reports you can create. These are PDF reports, but you can also create your own. We have a report designer, so you can create your own reports here and set them up exactly the way you want it to be. I'll give you an example of a report. It could be a letter that we want to send for the client. In this case, it will ask me a few questions. Should we insert the logo? Who is the client? What should be in the cover letter introduction? Which conditions? How should the letter be closed? And then it will generate the document for you. And again, you can choose what goes into the document. In this case, you can see I put in the Modena logo, but you can add your own logo, of course. And it will combine the information in Sigma with all the input you gave for the report generation here. So it's a very fast and reliable way to create a PDF report that you can send out. It could also be internal reports. So for example, list of materials that you want to provide for the construction site or for procurement of materials. So here you go again, this is a material list. So there are endless possibilities when it comes to creating reports. And again, it's very important to mention that everything you see on the screen can be exported directly to Excel. So again, if you wanted to have this in Excel, just do it like this. And the same way, if you have something in Excel, you can sort of just copy it like this. And if you want to insert it in Sigma, you can paste from Excel, and it will help you set up how it should be imported into Sigma. So very often, if you have some historical data you want to import into Sigma, you can use this. Or if you receive material from other people in Excel formats, it's very easy to get it into Excel. This is important for us that even though we want to replace Excel for estimating, we still want to work together with Excel. Now, these were some basic things on the Sigma software. So just to summarize, the look and feel like Excel, you have the templates that you can start out from, you have sample estimates that you can look into, and you have the various tabs that you work in, content to work on your content and structure, together with your libraries, which you can create on your own. And you have the reports, data for integrating with Excel, Word, Microsoft Project, and other things. That was a very basic introduction. Before I stop, I want to switch back to my PowerPoint and show you one more slide. And this is just to tell you what is also possible with Sigma. Maybe you want to learn Sigma first and work with it, and then add some of these integrations that I'm showing you now, or maybe you want to from the beginning. That's probably very different. But with Sigma, we have an integration to Autodesk Revit, which means that you can actually extract structures and quantities directly from your 3D models. It's been used on many projects with a lot of success. The success, of course, also relates to the quality of the models. I mean, if they're not modeled correctly, or you use wrong materials, there's a little manual work, but it still saves a lot of time. You can probably take an entire office building, for example, and take all the quantities and structures with less than 60 seconds, which is, of course, a very fast and time-saving operation. Again, our recommendation is maybe to learn the Sigma platform first, because then it's easier to understand how the integration with Revit works. We also have an integration with Autodesk BIM 360. And BIM 360, if you don't know BIM 360, it's the new cloud solution from Autodesk, which is a supplement to tools like Revit. So BIM 360 is a place to store your documents and your models in the cloud. And it also has applications such as cost management, checklist issues, and all the things you use during construction phase. So our integration with BIM 360 right now is that we can extract 3D model quantities directly from the cloud. We can, when you estimate a budget in Sigma, we can populate it back into the cost management application in BIM 360, so you can track your cost. And we can also show the cost on the 3D models in the cloud. We continue to work close with Autodesk on both expanding the Revit integrations and the BIM 360 integrations. And there's a very exciting announcement from Autodesk this year that They will add quantity takeoff capabilities in BIM 360. So we will, of course, also integrate with that when they are ready with it. And finally, we have an integration with PlanSwift, which is a 2D takeoff software. And it's a very nice integration because you can directly work from Sigma, and you can start your quantity takeoffs from within Sigma and go to PlanSwift, measure, and come back into Sigma, and it will automatically link the two software together. So if you make some changes or updates on your 2D drawings, the quantities will automatically be updated in Sigma. So again, something that can save a lot of time and help you in the estimating process. But again, my recommendation is to learn Sigma first and then look into these integrations afterwards. And as a very last thing, probably you can talk afterwards with Modena also on this, but we do have an API, which means that if you have some special software or special functionality that over time you want to use together with Sigma, the API can be used to develop such specific features or integrations to the systems. I think it's relevant to mention because we are moving towards a more digital and connected world also with estimating, and the API is a good thing to have when you walk through that. So that was introduction to Sigma and the Sigma company and a little perspectivation on where we are heading with our integrations. And with that, I think I will switch back to Modena for a few last words.
Thank you, Magnus. Let me just quickly get my screen up and running. Magnus, just a quick question in the chat around the integration into AutoCAD Civil 3D. Is it something you guys are looking into?
Yes, we are. So the way we look at it is that if you push your 3D, Civil 3D models into BIM 360, then we will be able to take quantities from BIM 360. We have done some prototyping on this and it seems to work. So we're also working together with Autodesk on it. Okay,
perfect. That's, yeah, because we want to get everyone on board.
Yes, absolutely.
And this, just the last question. What is your most favorite feature out of Sigma?
I think actually the ability to work so easy to build up your cost catalogs and work on the level of detail that you want this is what people really recognize as the most time-saving feature that also gives them a transparent and very secure way of estimating. But of course, I would love to mention 10 others.
And actually, I must say, when I started using Sigma, I kind of fell in love with the paste from Excel function.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's very neat.
Because we're so used to typing everything out in Excel as just standard information.
Yes.
And then we have to bring it into other software. It's always a hassle, but the way you guys changed it made it so much easier.
Oh, that's
I really
good to
enjoyed.
hear.
Yeah, I really enjoy that feature. I've used it, I don't know, 100,000 times by now.
Yeah, that's a lot of time saved.
Yeah. Okay. And then lastly, just for everyone on the webinar, the next steps, you guys can get contact with Tiamo for any kind of sales questions, cost-related questions. You can also go to the Modena website and get your 14-day free trial if you want to start, integrating into Sigma, see how it works, play around with the platform. And really, it's as easy as Magnus showed today. I think a lot of people find it more baffling that software can be so easy to kick off with these days. And then just lastly, just on the Q&A side of things. So anyone have questions, please, you guys can post them, ask them, and we're here to answer. I hope there's any questions. Just want to open up the chat quickly. Okay. Sorry, there's a question, Sigma. Will there be any integration into advanced steel and plant 3D?
I'm not familiar with that. Is that an Autodesk tool as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think it's a discussion we can have afterwards, just to get a better idea of where they sit.
Absolutely, but what I can say is again that Autodesk is trying to make sure that all quantities can be taken from BIM 360. So that way we will support it. But we also, and I did mention this, but we also have IFC import. So sometimes we see clients exporting to IFC and importing into Sigma.
Yeah, yeah. So the IFC import is also there.
Yeah.
And for N-Tenor, 4D scheduling, it is integrated as part of the Sigma process.
Yeah, so the Microsoft project, we have a native integration with that. And what it does briefly is that you can export the entire structure from Sigma or any of the inside views. It will set it up in Microsoft project with durations, and you can actually add dependencies already in Sigma. And then you can work with it in Microsoft project. If you make changes in Sigma, you can do an update to Microsoft project. With the API, it would also be possible to create integration to other 4D scheduling software.
Perfect. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Magnus, I want to thank you for your time. It was very informative today. I really enjoyed Sigma. And then I hope everyone that's on the chat or in the webinar enjoyed it. Again, this webinar will be available afterwards, and we'll send out the links where you can find it if you want to watch it again or pass it on to someone else that might find it interesting as well. And then thank you everyone for attending. We hope you enjoyed it. And then again, thank you, Magnus, for your assistance in this.
Likewise, it was a pleasure. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
And then everyone else, enjoy the rest of your Thursday and lockdown. You know, season 2 just started on the lockdown, so we have a long way to go still.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.